Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you around my Tundra. I'm going to show you about the different things that I've put on it to suit my needs for camping. That's the rooftop tent, the bed rack, as well as a couple interior modifications. If you want to know how I got this truck, go ahead and take a look at the last video that I showed you, and I'll tell you the story of basically my uncle's generosity. So follow me today, we'll show you around it, and it'll be fun. We'll start up here with the grill and the headlights. This truck originally came with a full chrome grill. It was kind of dated, so I wanted to freshen it up. Luckily, I was able to find this section of the grill for 50 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. It was the color of the truck. It was the dark gray finish that I liked up here from, I think, a 19 or 20 model, and it was super cheap, so I was able to get that at a pretty good deal. As far as this upper hood piece, which is attached to the hood itself, I got a spray paint kit online to match the color. It worked out pretty well. The color is a little bit off. It's a little more yellow than the Toyota Tundra's factory color, but it worked pretty well, and it taught me a lot about painting. The number one thing about it for me, you really gotta layer that paint on thick so it's glossy when you're painting it. That way it dries glossy. As far as the headlights go, I upgraded them from the chrome housing old halogen headlights. They were honestly okay halogens. They weren't terrible by any stretch of the imagination. They were just the halogen headlights. There's not much more to say about that. I upgraded just to the factory 18 and up LED headlights for two big reasons. Number one, I'm gonna try to treat this truck as nice as I possibly can. You know, it was a gift. I was entrusted to hold on to it, to share it with others, and use it in a way that fits, well, a gift's purpose. So I wanted to make sure that these headlights were gonna last and actually work with the truck. So that's why I went with OEM Toyota headlights. Another reason that I went with them is because Headlight Revolution on YouTube online, they did some tests with the Toyota headlights, LEDs, both for the aftermarkets, for the stock ones, for these ones, and it was amazing how bright the factory Toyota LEDs are. So the brightness, the function was fantastic, as well as, of course, these looks. Having that classic, simple white LED around the edge, man, it just ties in with the white paint so well. So I wanted to make it real clean, real simple and easy. I think in the future, I'm probably gonna do something about these chrome pieces down here. Not sure what I'm gonna do yet. One other thing you might notice is that I did take off the front hitch up here. My uncle had that front hitch on there so that he could put his bike on the front and have his trailer on the back going across the country so that they could go racing. And what I found going over some of the passes where I grew up in Colorado was that we were just smacking that hitch on any rock you could possibly find. And there was one time where we were going up this pretty steep incline. We had made a couple maneuvers before and didn't hit it, but this one, we were all confident, and we just plowed straight into that boulder, and it actually bent the factory hitch down probably about 5 degrees or so. So it was a pretty severe impact. Like I said, I'm gonna try to keep this truck as nice as I possibly can. That being said, that's about it for the front of the truck. Next, let's move on to the bed rack. That's pretty exciting, so we'll take you back there. This is my bed rack. It's the Leitner Designs ACS Forged, and it is designed by a company called Leitner in Southern California. It is a modular design, therefore the ACS in the name is the active cargo system. Basically what its design purpose is to have these channels up here made out of aluminum running all the way along the top and the bottom so you can put in whatever you want. On mine, I have these storage boxes. I got 4 of them over here that allow me to carry pretty much all of my camping gear. On the other side, I have a large box. That's their GearPod XL. That's the second version as well. And that carries my axe as well as other camping gear like blankets, things of that sort. But on this side, we have our chairs, we have extra shoes, we have hammocks, lights, cooking equipment, our pillows for the tent, that way they stay as much out of the weather as we can get them. And this one right here, which stays unlocked at all times, has first aid kits, things that you just need to get to instantly if there were an emergency. The cool thing about all these is, of course, how easy they are to use. You know, all these close up, lock up nice and quick, and they're very, very easy to store items in. One of the big reasons that I used a Leitner system with the gear pods versus like a decked system, one reason is full-size trucks, they're fairly tall up here. So it's difficult to get into the side of the bed, or at least down to the bottom, you know, reaching over the bed. So trying to get stuff from the side's really difficult. If you put these up here, you're basically saving space because nothing usually goes where these boxes go, so you can use the bed of your truck as efficiently as possible. Let me show you the other side and talk a little bit more about Leitner as well. So on this side of the bed rack, we have our Leitner Gear Pod 2 XL, quite a bit bigger than the ones on the other side. In here is where I keep blankets, towels, the hose for this guy. We also have a little pack shovel, an axe that I mounted to the door itself just to keep the wood handle out of the weather, spare parts, a shovel, the spring rods for the tent, just anything that needs to get thrown that's pretty big, toss it in there, lock it up, it's totally safe. Now, one of my favorite parts of the entire Leitner system. This is their hydropod. This gives you about 5 or so gallons of pressurized water on your truck. That way you head out to places like the beach, deep into the mountains, you can be 40 miles deep and you got pressurized water on your truck. Now, what I've found is super nice about it is that it is convenient for every single day. Most of the time that I use this is when I'm out in my truck on a run to lunch, when I'm just in my truck and I feel thirsty. It just allows you to come out here with a cup and just fill out your water. Now, the nice thing too is that they did come with a hose. You can hook it up and it generates some pretty serious water pressure. So you can really rinse off things. We rinsed off the dog once. I've cleaned running boards, any places that get super salty. It's just incredibly useful to have on the truck, and I am so glad that I put this on here. It has been almost world-changing since we put that on there. You know, the storage is nice, but having water, especially pressurized, is a whole other thing. Just makes your life easy, and you head out camping way more often because rinsing, cleaning, everything is so much easier. Now we talked about that, I'll show you a couple more features of the Leitner rack. You'll notice that there's these bars up here, 1, 2, and 3 bars. The really cool thing about this, and one of the other big selling points to me, is that these 2 rear bars, it only comes with 1, I added the 3rd one in the middle, but these 2 rear bars are actually undone just by little knobs right here. What that means for you is that you undo those knobs, take off anything that's on the roof, and then you can actually slide the bars forward, giving you all the vertical space in your bed that you could possibly want. The reason I needed that is because I do have a motorcycle and I do need to transport it from time to time. So that way I can wheel my bike in there, tire down, and you're good to go. We actually drove all the way from Colorado to Texas, and I had my bike in the back the entire time, didn't budge an inch, kept the bike protected, and it just worked fantastic. I was even able to put my rooftop tent back on by moving the bars around in different orders. The next thing I added was this Amp Research bed step. Now this is pretty sweet. Folds up like that, folds down just like that with the kick of a foot. You're up into your bed, super easy. It's a little bit expensive for what it is, but I have used it surprisingly a lot. Awesome thing, and a cool part about it is that not only like the Leitner rack, this is also designed and manufactured in the US. In fact, Bernhard Leitner is the son of the designer for Amp Research, or the founder of Amp Research, so pretty cool little tie-in. After this, let's head up to the rooftop tent. This is the Go Fast Campers Superlite version 1. The Go Fast Campers Superlite is designed to be, well, super light. It is only made of two things. You got your fabric, makes up the body of the tent, as well as the bags that hold the other pieces, and then you have a composite honeycomb that makes up the floor and the ceiling. I believe that GFC calls that PibTech, if I remember correctly, panel in bag technology. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But it makes it only 80 pounds for a full-size clamshell rooftop tent. If you ask me, the best feature of it though, is just that it's yellow. Well, not only is it yellow, very yellow, but it's pretty sweet inside here. You got a really comfy mattress. It's one of those air foam combos that I just kind of leave halfway inflated, pop it open when you get to camp and it sucks in the air. Really nice and comfy. You have decent headroom right here. It's not as much as a standard clamshell tent, just because the standard clamshells use a gas strut to lift it up so they can get a really high pitch on there. This GFC uses trekking poles, so those can only open a little bit, which means you do lose out on some headroom. That being said, if you don't want to spend too much time in here, you basically want to sleep and then enjoy outside, that's really what GFC designed this thing to be. So you hop in here, got a really comfy place, really dry place to sleep as well, and you're good. Plus, one thing that's really nice is that these are all full mesh in here. So this window becomes mesh, both side windows, as you can see, are mesh, and that means that you are nice and cool in the summers. I mean, we're out here on the ocean, get a nice little breeze, it's beautiful. The pocket up here, all of these pockets are actually extremely handy. I kind of thought that they were whatever, toss your shoes in the bottom, toss your jackets, whatever, don't worry about it. But it is surprising how convenient these little pockets are, so that's definitely a big plus. Modifications to this tent. The first one is going to be these spring rods. I mentioned that I store them in the GearPod XL. They basically attach to some aluminum CNC'd blocks that are under here with a little angle bent into it. Hook it in there, hook to the outside, and then it just opens those up as little awnings to get more airflow in here. Go ahead and follow the guy down below. He is the guy who actually manufactured these. Super cool dude. He's run a little side business making those, so if you can support him, that'd be fantastic. The only other thing that I've done to the tent is you might be able to see a little wire right here and some lights on the sides. I ordered up some LED strips from Amazon and I wired it so that the switch, touch capacitive right here, is mounted right here. Now, I have seen so many people put LED light strips in their rooftop tents, their truck campers, whatever they want, and people always get the ones where you can see the individual LED bulbs. Man, that looks bad. I can't stand how that looks. If it was tucked away and it was just the ambient light, like on a wall or something, fine, have at it. But when you see those individual LED light strips, man, it just looks cheap for some reason. So I spent a lot of time, found these waterproof, they're actually sealed in silicone, which actually is what diffuses the light, and I added them to the tent, and they really make it feel high class in here. I mean, at the end of the night, we pop up in here, turn these on, and it just adds fantastic lighting. So you can really have a great time up here because of those lights. We played cards for hours. You didn't have to worry about your shadow blocking anything because it's almost 360-degree lighting. It goes all the way across up here and then down to the bottoms over there, and that really has been fantastic. Now the way that I did it was I used little command hooks and then Velcro ovals. These have been fantastic because it allows slight adjustment. Once you pull tension on an LED strip, it tends to lengthen. So I put the Velcro on there so that when I need to retension it, all I gotta do is pull the Velcro off and then move it a little bit and reattach it, and everything's tensioned back up. Plus the Velcro strips, the adhesive that's on there, it doesn't leave any residue. So it's been fantastic being able to have that on there and not worry about a thing. favorite by far thing that I've done to this. Nice thing about it too is that it is fully dimmable too. It sure is a nice setup, to say the least. The tent itself really has been great. I think when GFC comes out with the version 2, they are really gonna nail it and blow it out of the park with that one. Couple complaints about this one are just simply that the latches, those gray latches you probably saw me taking off, GFC decided to put them on the very top of the tent, and that is a bad location for me. One thing that we found, we got this guy in the winter and did quite a bit of winter camping in it, is that not only when it snows on the roof, those latches, those hooks get snowed in, so it's impossible to find them without getting up on top of the truck, but they are just hard to use in that aspect. What I hope GFC does is, if they want to keep them on there, they look cool, they're definitely a safety item, so I get that. If they can put them, instead of being all the way on top of the roof, if they could be just along the edge, not only can you see it when you're down on the ground, you can just hook it there, and then also the tensioning process is in line with gravity. So instead of having to tension across a corner, which adds a lot of stress and you're trying to use your shoulder muscles alone to strap down your tent, if you just hooked it here, you could use your body weight a little bit and just give it a good tension. And it's set so much faster, easy peasy. The Velcro has been a little interesting, I would say. I get why it's there, I just tend to not like Velcro on the outside of tents. If it's got a zipper, I'd like to just use the zipper. Speaking of the zipper, that's how there is zero dust on the inside of this. GFC, because there are no hinges, because there's no gas struts, because there's no gaskets on it, the way they keep the dust out is with a simple YKK zipper all the way around. And that really has been great. It's easy to use. The only part that ever is frustrating is just that the Velcro's on there. I get why they did it, and if they keep it to the next one, it is just a small personal gripe, so whatever. Zipper really hasn't been an issue. It's easy to go all the way around, and even in the cold, that zipper works surprisingly well. I had an older fold-out style ARB tent, and that one was a pain in the butt. It even snapped on me once. So it was great to see that this one had really, really nice zippers on it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the tent itself. Definitely recommend the blocks. Huge shout out to that guy. I'm just forgetting his name. And then of course, those LED light strips all the way around in the interior are fantastic. I just love them. So that's pretty much it for the tent. Go ahead and put this guy down, and then we'll tie up any other modifications and give you a little insights into the future plans. This is a Ulanzi quick connector for a camera. How it works is there's a little locking switch right here. Switch it to the right, and then this is a button. You can see it pushing in and out, and there is a matching button on the back side. So what you do is you pinch both of those, and you can release the tent. Then when you're ready to put it back on, you simply line it up, give it just ever so slightly a little bit of pressure, and it'll lock in, and then push it to the side so that this can't get pushed back in. So again, you unlock, press it, and it's off. Push it back in, you'll hear it click, and then it's locked back in place. I've got 6 of them on here because I have 3 load bars, so it's 2 per load bar. The only ones that are attached to the tent are the back 2 and the very front 2. The middle ones I'm basically just using as a spacer, since they just need to hold the weight and not hold it to the rack. But testing that out for future use, and I will have a video later on that. Now to the interior. Now, as far as the interior is concerned, it's fairly basic. I don't really have any fancy map systems, many phone holders. You see people all the time that have crazy stuff blocking the screen, rail systems, all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm not sure if I ever want to go that far. For right now, the 2 big things right now that I have in here are basically for the phone system. Number one is the Quadlock wireless charger. It's a place to keep your phone all the time in the line of view so that you can always have directions, notifications, everything like that is super easy, and it doesn't block your screen and it doesn't block anything with your steering wheel or the windshield. So an awesome system there that keeps your phone charged all the time and just keeps it a super clean interior. What I did with the wiring was I took the charging wire, ran it behind this panel, and then it comes back out down here and attaches to this wireless charger. Now this is the other part of the wireless system that I want to show everybody. So you've probably seen a lot of the times where people will try to incorporate window breakers and seatbelt cutters and stuff into just a tool, and then you gotta mount it like to the side of the floorboards, or it's locked in your center console and you can't find it anywhere in an emergency. This is the absolute best solution that I have found for that. So what it is, and you don't have to unplug in order to use it, but it is this charger. So of course, 2 USB ports, and then here's the trick. Seatbelt cutter up on top, and then the port right there is actually what breaks the glass. So what you do is you put it on the glass, and I'm not gonna put it on my glass, of course not. But what you simply do, and I'm not gonna push all the way, but you push down, you can see that action there. And then as soon as you hit a particular point, it'll click, and that actually sends a super sharp rod directly into your window, smashing it. So it's quick, it's easy, it doesn't require any bit of strength, surprisingly ergonomic, and the best part about an emergency piece of kit, it is always within an arm's reach and it will always be right there. That is the most important thing about something like that by far. So if something does happen, it's not, oh crap, where the heck is it? Behind the toilet paper or the Tylenol? I have no idea. Is it in the glove box? Oh crap, we're sunk and we're drowning. Instead, you crash, you reach down, you pull it out, and bam, there you're out and safe. Same thing with that seatbelt. You just reach across, give it a slice, and you're set. So having a safety tool like that in easy place that will always be there, super important. And I have to give a major thumbs up to the guys over at Stinger. It is affordable, it's the best thing out there, and it keeps your USB stuff simple. So that is all really the modifications for the interior. Is just simply the Quadlock and the Stinger down there. Other than that, stock SR5 setup. So simple stuff. Great Bluetooth system. Yeah, great truck. Now I'll talk a little bit about the future of this truck. My philosophy behind the truck is to enhance its off-road capability while keeping its daily practicality as high as possible. So putting on large tires, 35s with re-gearing, big fenders, long travel suspension kits, heavy bumpers, all that kind of stuff, at this point, I really practically can't do, just because it ruins the fuel economy. As far as keeping it set up for the daily aspects, the Leitner rack really has been fantastic. I spent probably 4 or 5 months analyzing local pickup trucks to see what space in the bed is constantly used, constantly unused, and made my decision from there. Anything underneath a tonneau cover seems to be used a lot in the daily life of a truck owner. So I knew that that space needed to be open. As far as where the gear pods go in the Leitner rack, I figured out that that space is virtually unused by almost every single person that buys a pickup truck. So I put all my storage in those areas, which allowed me to have the full bottom area available for sheets of plywood or anything that I need to throw in there. I've been having the tires in there, which you'll see in a future video. And because they are separate boxes that leave a vertical blank area in the middle, that means that I can put things like a motorcycle, a dirt bike, a couch, taller pieces of wood can still go into the bed
in those weird use cases. So for the general function of ease to go camping with the daily practicality, it really has been an awesome system. The tent comes on and off extremely easily using some quick releases. I really like the setup. Gas mileage hasn't gone down at all, and it really is becoming what I want it to become.
So those are the modifications that I've done to my 2017 Toyota Tundra. Hope that you enjoyed following along as I showed you all the stuff that I've done to it. Hope there was some inspiration to get outside, check out cool locations, and start building your own rig. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, and see you soon.